fails me all my days. I've been held in your hands from the moment that I wake up until I lay my head. I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I will sing of the goodness of God. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. I love your voice. You have led me through the fire in darkest night. You are close like no other. I know you as a father. I know you as a friend. And I have lived in the goodness of God. Oh, this is my story. All my life you have been faithful. This is my song. All my life you have been so, so good. Every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause your goodness is running after, it's running after me. Your goodness is running after, it's running after me. With my life laid down and surrendered now, I give you everything. Your goodness is running, it keeps running after me. All my days, Jesus. All my life you have been faithful. All my life you have been so, so good. Yeah. With every breath that I am able, I will sing of the goodness of God. The Lord our God is ever faithful. He's never changing through the ages. From this darkness, you will lead us, and forever we will sing. You're the Lord our God. The Lord our God is faithful and never changes. Through the ages, reigns forever. He is a friend of mine, the God of angel armies. He's always by my side. Give me vision to see things like you do. God, I need you where my help comes from. Give me wisdom. You know just what to do. I love you, my strength. I love you, my fear. And I love you, forever, all my days. We trust you in every season. We trust you, God. Come on, let's sing this together. Sing hallelujah. never stop working. You never stop, you never stop. I see how you when I don't see it, you're working. You when I don't feel it, you're working. You never stop, you never stop working. You never stop, you never stop working. Praise the one who set me free. Hallelujah. Death has lost its grip on me. You have broken every chain. There's salvation in your name, Jesus Christ, my living Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, All right. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Birmingham Bible Church's Winning Wednesday. We are so glad that you have decided to join us here on today. However, you are watching us, to all of our Facebook family, hello. If you're watching us on YouTube or on Twitter, if you are watching us through our website, bhambc.org, we are just excited that you have decided to join us here on today. Of course, I am your host, Lady Pam Mason. And so, of course, we always like to thank you for watching, because you could be doing something else at this moment, but you decided to log in either at 12 noon, or if you're logging in a little later, we appreciate that as well. And so we like to use this time every Wednesday to bring you some important information to try to educate you, just to give you information pertaining to your life and things pertaining to your living. And so, of course, if you can, make sure you are tagging somebody here in the Facebook comment section, or if you're watching otherwise, just make sure you're sharing it with someone. And so, so that we can all learn together and grow together. And so, we're always talking about the importance of going to a doctor. And even knowing your numbers, how important it is. We had Dr. Miller on a couple of weeks ago, and he just really just talked to the men about just being aware of health problems, and, how we need to detect things early, and how we need to seek out treatment for certain diseases. And so sometimes we just need a little help. We need to know just where we need to start. And things are just, everything is going up. Y'all know gas is going up. Y'all know food is going up. And I'm pretty sure things relating to medical issues, insurances, copays, medications, all of that is going up as well. And so it helps to have something free, just a freebie every now and then. And so I'm excited. One of our members actually united me with Dr. Khan, who is our guest here for today, as some ways that we could kind of help and partner. And so I was thinking, what better way to really get the word out, to have her on a Winning Wednesday. And so Dr. Khan is here in Hoover, Alabama. She is of the Red Crescent Clinic, and she is going to tell us about the free medical services that are offered. Hello, Dr. Khan, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We are glad that you decided to come with us on today. I'm going to share just the flyer right there so everybody can see the exact name of it.
But before we get started, if you can tell us tell us about your credentials and maybe how this clinic got started. Let's start with that.
Absolutely, I'd be glad to. Just to let you know first, the RCCA, or the Red Crescent Clinic, RCCA for short, it's a mouthful. It's a nonprofit organization. We operate in Hoover. It's a 501c3 registered, so any donations that are made to it are tax deductible. And I've personally been involved with the organization for over 10 years now, but I've been functioning as a medical director since 2018. And as medical director, I not only see patients there, but I also coordinate care with our nurse, our other employees, and other physicians. Everything from scheduling to follow-up care and things like that for our patients. So I'm glad to start with a little bit of the history of RCCA. I'll keep on referring to as RCCA so that you know what I'm talking about. The clinic came into inception in November 2011 it was a collaborative effort between a group of physicians in Alabama. The physicians were basically all from a group called the Association of Physicians of Pakistani Descent of North America, and Alabama for the last about 15 years or so has had its own chapter. Or UPNA is for short, the acronym is UPNA. Basically the physicians, they wanted to give back to the community by providing free medical services, and also for all of us to experience the pleasure that we get out of being able to volunteer our time with a certain skill set. A lot of us can go and volunteer at a soup kitchen or at a homeless shelter, but only physicians could volunteer as physicians. So we thought that we wanted to tap into the skill set that was specific to our profession, of course. So, and since it was a group of Muslim physicians at that time, we naturally, when we looked for partners in this, we went to the largest local organization of Muslims, which was the Birmingham Islamic Society in Birmingham. I know they do a lot of interfaith with some of the churches around here. Some of you guys may be familiar with it. And so when the physicians approached, it turned out we learned that BIS, or the Birmingham Islamic Society, also somewhere along their line, they had a mission that they wanted to start a free clinic for patients to provide medical care, but they actually hadn't found a partner to work with them. So it was a mutually useful thing. So basically we forged this relationship with the goal to provide excellent medical care to all patients, regardless of race, ethnicity, gender, religion, or ability to pay. And that's kind of how it started. We created a board of directors that initially had members from both organizations, both UPNA and BIS, and later it was expanded to add additional members from the community. We currently have 11 board members actively serving on the board, of which 5 of them are physicians and 6 of them are non-physicians. Everybody volunteers. It's not a paid position. It's not an elected position. It's an appointed position. And in January 2012 is when we opened our doors to start seeing patients. And it blew me away thinking about it today that it's been 10 years since we've been doing this. That's a huge landmark. I think we should have celebrated it more than we did. So, but we basically were given a space provided to us free of cost at the Birmingham Islamic Society at the Hoover Crescent Islamic Center in Hoover. And at the end of this presentation, we'll be able to provide the address and everything that goes with that. Initially, we had internists and family physicians offering primary care services to patients of those surrounding areas. Most of them, that in the beginning months to couple of years, most of our patients were those who would learn about us while they were frequenting the mosque. So it was mostly by word of mouth that we would start seeing patients. But over time, the clinic got a little bit more exposure. The Hoover Sun did a story about us, the Birmingham News. We were on the AL.com website. There was a very nice article about our organization. And even Alabama Public Radio a few years ago came and ran a story about our clinic. So we've had a lot of exposure, and that's really helped us expand our patient base. Now we've got a very diverse population. We have volunteers with us who translate in several languages: Spanish, Hindi, Urdu, Arabic, to name a few. But we have patients who come from very diverse backgrounds now. So it's always a fun day to work there because you don't know who you're going to encounter. And also the physicians, most of the volunteers, over the years, we've had physicians from UPNA, the Pakistani descent physicians, but we've also had physicians outside of UPNA who've come and volunteer with us, just to maybe a day or two or even long term. But primarily it is staffed by physicians of Pakistani descent. And then a couple of years into our operation, maybe about 8 years ago, we had a psychiatrist offer his volunteer services as well. I mean, we know that there's a lot of mental illness in the community. Unfortunately, it's a serious problem. It's a very widespread problem. And sometimes even more so in our uninsured and underinsured populations. So this was obviously a very welcome addition. And now our psychiatrist, Dr. Huck, volunteers once a quarter. So every 3 months, he comes through our clinic and sees patients specifically with mental illness. Presently, we've got about, I think we have 8 physicians who are rotating through our clinic. It's on Sunday afternoons from 2 to 6, and 7 of those offer primary care services, and then 1 of them is our psychiatrist. So, that's kind of how we've been doing. I'll tell you a little bit, I think, because it's interesting what we're doing now. COVID changed things. I think COVID changed everything for everybody. But just along like every organization in Alabama, probably frankly in the entire United States, COVID changed the way we practice medicine and run our clinic. During the first wave in March 2020, BIS, or Birmingham Islamic Society, was one of the first faith-based organizations in Birmingham to close their doors to live traffic and go virtual. It was a necessity for public health reasons. That time we didn't have a vaccine, and COVID was rampant. So, and we thought that it was best for us to follow suit as well. You know, they were willing to continue to provide a space, but we thought it was best to take our services online or virtual as well. We didn't take any new patients for the first few months into COVID, but we did continue to be able to provide ongoing care to our established patient base. So we started doing some telehealth visits, and you mentioned telehealth earlier when we were chatting. It's a great resource if you're in a pinch, if you can't get out and need to talk to a physician. It's a very useful service to have. But there are limitations. So the thing about providing care virtually is that you can only do so much without examining a patient, especially if you're providing primary care. You want to obtain their vital signs. You want to know what their blood pressure is doing, things like that. And because that's what our patient population is, we don't provide urgent care services, we do primary care. And when we're talking about primary care, we're taking care of patients who have multiple chronic medical problems. And just to name a few, high blood pressure is a common one, diabetes, thyroid disorders, just a few different what we call dysmetabolic conditions. But maybe because we felt like we needed to open as soon as possible, maybe about a year into the pandemic, we started to open up to some live clinics. Now we have about 50% of our clinics are live on site at the Hoover Crescent, and about 50% of them are still virtual. Some physicians opted to continue to remain virtual. We actually have an Alabama licensed physician who's working in Texas, but she enjoyed her time so much volunteering at RCCA that even though she moved out of state, she maintained her Alabama license just so that she could continue to volunteer with us. So we love her. So obviously she's doing virtual clinics. We do offer the primary care, but unfortunately we don't have a great source to offer medications through our organization, but we do our utmost to prescribe medications that are affordable to our patients. There's several pharmacies, Publix, Walmart has low cost. Publix actually does some free of cost prescriptions. And we try and take advantage of those services as much as possible. We use an app called GoodRx that some people may be familiar with, that helps us see what in the patient's zip code of residence, what their best pharmacy is, where they can get their medications at good cost as much as possible. And now we're fortunate, we even have a cardiologist and a sleep disorders physician. The specialists who are willing to volunteer their time on an as-need basis. We definitely don't have a need for them to come and set up their own clinic, but we can call on them if we need help with a patient, and they'll either come and see the patient at the clinic or they'll see them in their office. And it's nice to have that, but honestly, there's a lot of different specialists that we feel like we need and we don't always have access to. So our referral base could be the patient resides in Jefferson County at Cooper Green Hospital. We refer some of our patients to Christ Health. They're also primary care. They're a federally qualified FQHC, but they can help facilitate some of our patients get into specialists from there. And then of course, UAB, sometimes we have to tap into the financial assistance office at UAB. But as very experienced primary care physicians, we try and keep as much as we can in-house, So we actually have an endocrinologist. Endocrinologists are physicians who manage specialty disorders like they're specialists who manage diabetes, thyroid disorders, and all of us do as primary care, but she also does primary care. So if we have just a excessively complex patient with diabetes, we can always call on her and she can see that patient in clinic. So that's useful. And then what else do we, and that's kind of history and what we do, but over time we've expanded some of our services. Say over the last, since I became a medical director, we've started to expand our services, and now we actually offer some limited blood tests in the clinic. So we don't have to refer our patients out to a freestanding laboratory if they need some labs. We can actually, once a month, we have a phlebotomist who comes to our site and they draw blood on our patients, and the lab results hit the patient's chart directly, and then we schedule them for a follow-up to be seen. And that's been very useful. We may even have, on a busy day, we may have 15, 16 patients who come through that get labs done on any given Sunday, once a month. So it's a busy service, definitely. So, obviously all our physicians are volunteers, but we do have some employees. I think for a nonprofit like we have, it's always necessary to have somebody on the payroll. We keep it skinny, we keep it lean, but we have 3 employees. One of ours is our probably most valuable employee. That's our clinic coordinator, Purity. She's a nurse, and another is our clinic assistant, Safa. And they basically work together to make sure our patients' needs are met throughout the week. Even if we're only physically open for 4 hours a week, we make sure that if the patient calls in or leaves an email with an important follow-up question about their medications, refills, we take pride in a 24-hour turnaround to get back with that patient. Of course, within reason, we're not an urgent care, and neither do we provide emergency medical services. So the onus is somewhat on the patient. If they think they need care more urgently than 24 hours, they do need to seek medical attention elsewhere, either at an urgent care center or in the emergency room. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of those because we try and work hard to keep our patients, care coordinated as much as possible. And then of course, the third employee is our phlebotomist that I talked about, but she also fills in as a medical assistant on the days where they're on site. And she does vital signs and triage and medication documentations and things like that. So that's how we're set up as far as our employees go. And then we have a group of young volunteers. I think one right now is a high school student, the rest are college students, some of them pre-med, some of them not. Most of them go to school at UAB. A couple of them go to school out of state, but are from Birmingham. So in the summer, they like to volunteer with us. And so they work hand in hand with our clinic assistant at the front desk, doing intake for patients, doing scheduling and things like that. And basically mostly front desk work. So if you have any students who are particularly interested in the medical field, but even if not, but just want to get some community service hours in, we'll be glad to help get you in touch with our clinic assistant who does a lot of scheduling. I think we were actually fortunate that we have a volunteer designated for every live clinic between now and the end of the year, because there's been students who've been very eager to get community service hours in, but there's always lots that open up. So, and Safa, she keeps a database active of all volunteers and could call in them. She has a GroupMe group. That's how she gets and communicates and then stays in touch with them. So, but I think it's a great opportunity for folks who are in the medical field. All right, so that's mostly about RCCA, a little bit about our services, but there is one other thing that I think I didn't talk to you about when we were talking about this meeting. I don't know if we did or not, but I do want to take a moment or take a few minutes to talk about, I think, a service that it's very dear to my heart. Is a service that we offer at RCCA. And again, it's another collaborative effort between RCCA and UPNA. That's our annual fall health fair. It's called UPNA Cares Day, but that's something we typically do every October in the fall. And I think it'll be of great interest for everybody watching and listening today. Fortunately, just like everything else, it's kind of derailed the last couple of years because of COVID. We weren't able to hold it at all in 2020. And then in 2021, we still had cases were very high in Birmingham. And the hospitalizations were very high. So all we did is we had basically a drive-through flu vaccine clinic where patients registered to get their flu shots and came in and got flu shots. But we weren't able to host our full health fair. We're hoping this year we will be able to do it again and provide the whole gamut of services that we typically do. But of course, that's COVID permitting. Public health matters first before anything else. But just to give you an example of the kind of services we do provide at our health fair in October are, just typical primary care, vital signs and cholesterol and blood glucose testing, all done free of charge. Free flu vaccines, and sometimes even we've had dentists come in and do free dental screenings, health vision screens, and then we have a gamut of really great doctors on site who will actually, once the labs are obtained and drawn, they will actually talk to the patients one-on-one and do mini consultation lasting anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes to talk to them about their lab results and, give them a list of resources, including RCCA, of course, where they can go and talk to a physician in more detail if we identify that they have high blood pressure or diabetes or something that they weren't aware that they had, and then where could they seek medical attention to have these medical problems addressed. We also have, usually it coincides with Live South will come out and do a blood drive at the same day. So it's a busy morning. Usually it's from 8 to 2 or 10 to 2 in the mornings through the afternoons. We have people selling ethnic foods there. So we have a little bit of a festival, rides for kids, things like that. So everything's going on at the same time to encourage folks to come in, and we encourage them to register for the event, but we're usually glad to take walk-ins, and we usually have enough supplies to have at least 100, 150 people even come through. And we've had over 100 some years. Sometimes we only have 75, but we have people on site doing all of that. So that's nice. And the nurses who come there are usually volunteering their time as well. So that's nice. But I think the best way for you guys to know, because for the fall, right now it's kind of up in the air if we're going to host it, and the actual day is to be decided, to be determined. But if you follow our Facebook page, everything's updated there. You'll be one of the first to know, and I'll be glad to share with you as well whenever it's scheduled. I can shoot you an email or a text and let you know, Lady Pam, that this is what's going on, and if you'd like any of your congregants to join in, we'll give them the resource for that. So I think that's mostly what I had to talk about. I told you I would keep it brief, but I'll be glad to answer any questions that anybody has. And of course, just to say that I believe this is my passion. I love to volunteer. I feel like I see patients every day. I feel like we are making a difference. I hope we're making a difference. And so I honestly deeply believe it is a worthy cause to contribute to financially as well. If you're looking for end of year donations, where could do thing, this is, you could come and you're welcome to come and see the kind of work that we're doing and where your money would go. But any questions at all that you may have, or if you would like me to elaborate on anything else, I'd be glad to do that.
Dr. Khan, this is awesome. I think everybody should be in the business of giving back,
Yes.
and whatever gift God has given them. And you obviously have the gift of medicine. And I think it's awesome that, what y'all are doing. You've answered, I think, most of my questions, because I know we
Yes.
talked a little bit before, and we talked about the specialists and how you can even, it's good you have a cardiologist. So if
Yes.
if there's a need, then y'all could just refer them to that cardiologist, or he could come out. I think all that's great. Even taking the vitals, the labs, I think that's so important to get labs drawn, because that just tells you kind of what's going on and where we need to
Absolutely.
start as far as what we need to work on. How quick is it to get an appointment? Like if someone is watching today, could they get an appointment for Sunday, or are y'all pretty booked?
We prefer not to take walk-ins, number one, because of the way
Okay.
we're set up, but we can get them in within a couple of weeks. We try and keep the volume somewhere between about 8 to 10 patients per clinic, just because we want to give them as much time as possible.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll schedule more. And when we have a virtual clinic, we prefer not to schedule new patients, because we like to see them face to face at least the first time. So for example, this coming clinic is, I know it's not a busy one, but it is virtual only, but the June clinic is in person at the end of June. So it would be possible if somebody wanted to make an appointment, we could possibly see them in June. Now we are closed on holidays. We're closed on 4th of July, Memorial Day, Labor Day, things like that. Or those weekends that are close to that. And then we have two Muslim religious holidays, our Eids, and we're closed on those. So coincidentally, in July, the first 2 Sundays in July, we're not here, but then we have several in-person clinics after that. So if not the end of June, definitely within the month of July, we could get a new patient in for sure.
Okay, good.
Excuse
Do
me.
y'all do COVID test or COVID vaccination? Somebody may be asking that.
We don't, because we just don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to do that documentation. But the flu vaccines, whatever we have, for example, left over, we order 70, 80, sometimes even 100 doses, depending on the interest that we see. We keep those in a refrigerator in our clinic, so we can do flu shots until we run out.
Gotcha.
So we give them during October, but if we have 30 doses left over, patients are welcome to come in and get those.
Okay.
So we make sure nothing goes to waste.
No, that's fine. And I hope we have some doctors and some nurses, some people who want to volunteer. If someone wants to
Absolutely.
volunteer, and also what positions do you need volunteers in? I'm gonna show this next slide just in case you start rattling off some information on that. But how can people volunteer, and what positions are needed?
Okay, so we don't on a regular basis need nurses, but the fall health fair is a great opportunity for nurses, maybe even medical assistants, LPNs, anybody like that, if they want to come in. And that's even a great time for students to come in. We prefer them a little bit more, like ideally college students, but as I said, we do take some high school students as well if they're interested. But that one specific day is great. Physicians, we're always looking for primary care physicians, because we're we live busy lives, and not everybody can find that time. But we ideally, what we request is that a physician who we schedule about 6 months at a time, our clinics, and we do request that the physician cover ideally 2 clinics for that 6-month period. Or if we translate that into the whole year, that's only 16 hours a year. But if there was a physician who said, hey, you know what, I can't do 16 hours a year, but I can only do 4, we would be glad to take them on. Primary care is always our need. Somebody who's comfortable doing outpatient medicine. Of course, specialists, if anybody's willing to just be a referral base for us, we would really appreciate that. Somebody who's, let's see what we see. We see, like, for example, gastroenterology problems that somebody may need some more intensive GI care, something for stomach, colon related, or gynecological care. We can't really, in our limited setting, we can't do vaginal exams and pap smears and things like that, unfortunately. We're just not set up for it. But a gynecologist who may say, hey, you know what, we'll be glad to see X number of patients in our clinic over the next 6 months, and, you know, things like that. Or kidney diseases, we see a lot of renal disease, and they need to see nephrologists or kidney specialists, and that's the need that we have. So if anybody just wants to say, hey, you know what, we'll be glad to see them in our office, just give them our name, we can set them up, you know, call us and just give them, that would be awesome. You know, I think primary care, obviously, on site, we use an electronic medical record, which is very, very simple to learn. I mean, it takes minutes. It's very, very basic. So if anybody has a hesitation that how am I going to work with another EMR, it's, you know, you watch a couple of videos and you're on board, you know, or you watch a physician do it, you're on board. But for specialty care, we're always looking for somebody who could help out, you know, who's just willing to say, you know, we don't mind seeing a patient here and there if need be, with the understanding that our patients, we don't screen them for their ability to pay. If they say we can't do it, we can't pay, we will accept that. Now, we do request, when we do lab draws, that's something I didn't mention. We do request a small donation of $15, but that doesn't cover our full cost. But it's what we've learned over the years, that it gives the patients ownership in what they're doing. They don't just have labs done and just not show up. They'll have labs done and they'll say, you know what, I paid $15 to get my blood work done. I'm going to go see the doctor and talk to them about it. And I think that's been more than anything, you know, it's been a great way, and it's a donation for our clinic. You know, it doesn't go into anybody's pockets at the clinic. And it, as I said, it gives the patients that ownership. And if they're unable to pay that $15, we can get them in touch with the financial assistance office at the Birmingham Islamic Society, who can issue a voucher so that they can. So it's not that, oh, we can't pay $15, that we won't do their labs.
Right. Well, I know since you said that, I know Birmingham Bible Church wants to donate something. So just in case somebody else is watching who wants to donate, how can we donate to you guys to help cover even some blood draws for some people?
You know, I wish I had put that information on the slide, and I will be glad to email it to you. But we have a donate button on our website, on our Facebook page, for sure. So you can donate through Facebook. And I believe for nonprofits, they don't even charge additional fees, but I'm not quite sure on that. And then the Birmingham Islamic Society, it's bisweb.org. bisweb.org. They have a button that's a donation button. When you click on their button, I believe it's on the right side of their welcome page, there'll be several options there that you can donate to certain different places, you know, the general fund, so on and so forth. And one of them is the free clinic. So you can click on that and the donation will go to BIS, but it will be designated to the free clinic. So it's bisweb or bisweb.org.
Okay. Awesome.
I really should have put that on there. I'm glad you mentioned that.
Oh, it's
but yes, the Facebook page definitely has a donate button as well.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so everybody, I've left this up here for several minutes. All the information is on there as far as how you can locate them, the hours of operation. Their Facebook is at Red Crescent, Alabama. The email information is up there as well. You guys can take a screenshot, or if you're looking at it from your computer, you can take a picture of it as well. The phone number is up there as well. Listen, thank you, Dr. Mia, Dr. Khan. This
Yeah.
is great information, just how we can get free services here in the Hoover, Alabama area. And of course, if someone needs blood drawn, if they need a referral to a specialist, it's great. Y'all are a great resource to help steer people in the right direction. Listen,
Absolutely.
they need volunteers, guys. So I know I know at least a couple of doctors. Hopefully I can send their information to them, and they
Right.
can volunteer. Just give a little bit of time. There are a couple of students in our church who want to be doctors. They're not high school yet, so they got a ways to go.
Oh, yeah.
But hopefully they can also volunteer. And
Right.
please let me know about that fall event. You got my
I
cell
will.
number. You can text me the information.
I'll
We'll make
text
sure.
you, follow the
Yeah,
Facebook page, and
yeah.
that would be useful. Mhm.
Okay, that sounds
And
great.
then if physicians are interested in volunteering, I know you have my personal email address as well. You're welcome to give that to them and they can connect with me directly. For other volunteers, the RCCA clinic at Gmail, that goes straight to our clinic coordinator and clinic assistant. So they're the ones who do most of the student coordination, because I do as far as physician, the little bit of intake and training that's required, I'll take care of that.
Okay, awesome.
We
Okay.
love volunteers, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm thinking we have 2 young boys, and if y'all have that fall event, I'm gonna drag them out so they can volunteer.
Yeah,
So they can volunteer and do
the more the
something.
merrier.
Right, yeah. So please let us know.
Will do for sure.
We want to have you back. Maybe we could have you back. If y'all decide to have in October, maybe we could have you back and maybe you kind of talk about it a little bit and get everybody kind of
Sure.
pumped and excited about it. We are going to donate to you guys on a monthly basis, just to cover something.
Well, that's an honor. We appreciate that.
Yes,
That trust
ma'am.
in us.
Oh, you're welcome. You said a lot of great things today, and so I'm excited for you guys. I hope you get more and more referrals, more and more people. Hopefully, you can eventually be open 5 days a week.
Well, we were hoping for years. We've been hoping to do 2 at least, a Saturday and a Sunday.
Yeah.
I think our biggest constraint is we're in a limited space. Number one, we'd love to have a freestanding clinic, and that we're envisioning it, but we're a few years out from that still.
Yeah.
And then the additional thing has just been having more physicians willing to when I retire, which is a little ways out, that's going to be my full time.
Right. No, that's good. I think this is awesome. And Sunday's a good time because most people are not working. So that's a good time for them. And then, of course, y'all as physicians,
in the
y'all are working
afternoon, so y'all can get done with services in the morning and all that and still come in.
That's it. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. So I'm just going to give a few basic announcements for some of our viewers as far as what's coming up. But when I get through, I just want you to just kind of give us a quick synopsis of kind of where you guys are, what you provide, just kind of encourage people to come on out. Okay. All right. Yes, ma'am. All right. Okay, everyone. Let's make sure we can see that screen. Let's see. We can. All right. So you just heard from Dr. Khan on today about the free medical services that's offered by the Red Crescent Clinic here in Alabama. Make sure you take a part of that. On next week, we're going to have Dr. Tiffany Mayo. She's going to talk about skin wellness because it's hot. The sun is bright. It's very hot. We're all sweating. She's going to really help us to take care of our skin during the summer. So I'm excited about that. So make sure you join us next Wednesday, 12 noon at the same time. Don't forget, we're having our small groups this Saturday. It is virtual. So if you desire to be a part of it, send us an email at smallgroups@bhambc.org. We do it every Saturday at 10 a.m. Of course, make sure that you email us if you have not been a part of it. If you have been a part of it, we'll send you a notification on that. And also to all of our children, our summer's reading program is in full effect. It starts June the 1st, ends July the 31st. please go to our website, bhambc.org. If you click on the web browser that looks just like this flyer, you'll click on that. It'll give you specific instructions that you have to read books. You have to do a summary. So that's just to make sure everybody stays honest. It's going to be 5 sentences, depending on how old you are. You may be required more to write or type. But once you submit it, then it's going to go to our person. They're going to proof it, and then your name will be entered, of course, into a drawing. Whoever reads the most books, presents the most summaries, it's going to be prizes for you guys the first Sunday in August. So you got 2 months to do this, to read as much as you can and submit as much as you can. We want to make sure that your minds are staying intact even during the summer. Also, this Sunday is our in-person service. Don't forget that. We're celebrating fathers as well. The Wool Effect food truck is going to be on site. So we are excited about that. If you want to be a part of our in-person service, which is going to be 10 a.m. this Sunday at C.W. Hayes School, please send us an email at welcomeback@bhambc.org. That's welcome back at bhambc.org. We're going to bless all of our dads this Sunday. So make sure you come out and be a part. And then don't forget, pastors on oneplace.com. Of course, this is a way that we can get the word spread out. The word of God is being taught by Pastor Mason through this broadcast and other spiritual leaders and teachers as well. But listen, go to oneplace.com, do a search for his name, Dr. James H. Mason III, and then you can see all of his messages that are archived. A great, important way to make sure that you are growing spiritually here during this time. So that's all we have. Of course, our website is bhambc.org. Y'all can go there for also further announcements as well. So Dr. Mina Khan, thank you so much for joining us here on today. Do you have any final words for our viewers?
Just that, as I said, I hope there's patients who've been, trying to find a physician that really don't have the ability to pay, that we really want to let you guys know that we would love for you to take advantage of our services, and maybe we'd help direct you towards, even if we can't provide the care that you need, maybe we can help you direct you towards the other physicians or other facilities that may be able to benefit you. So, we're there most Sundays, 2 to 6, either virtually or in person, but the virtuals are either by phone or by video, and that's by patient preference. We can do both. Just, if you do call, leave a message, want to make an appointment, it'll be no more than 24 hours. You will be hearing back. Weekends, weekdays, Purity's awesome. She will get in touch with you. And if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. And then just keep in touch with us on our Facebook page, because there's always a lot of information there as well.
Yeah, awesome. I forgot one other question. Do you offer anything like speech therapy or physical therapy, occupational therapy? Are you looking for that, or?
We don't right now. One thing I think we would love to have is to have a social worker with us, somebody who could do some case management. And that's another thing that we're lacking. But we've got a ways before we can expand to provide the services. So we have to rely on, we don't have any partnership as far as goes. And that's my goal over the next, year, 2 years. Life kind of catches up with you. We're trying to do all this, but maybe to help forge some relationships with things like therapy groups and especially for PTOT, speech specialties. Unfortunately, we've been around for 10 years and there's still so many people who don't know we're there, and maybe developing more relationships with other allied health services would be definitely somewhere down the line for sure.
Good, awesome. Well, thank you, Dr. Khan. Thank you for volunteering
Thank
your
you.
time with us on today. Blessings to you and the whole Red Crescent Clinic.
We
Thank
appreciate
you and have a great rest of your day. Thank you, viewers, for watching us. Make sure you share the word and spread the word. Thank you.
it.
All right.
It was an honor. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.